know a
We're
lot
talking
of folks,
about happy thoughts here.
I know a lot of folks that play music or are passionate about music or like in the food and service industry.
Yeah.
Did you do that deliberately?
I don't know what it is, but honestly, I feel like every musician I've ever known has either been a barista, a cook, or both,
Bartender.
or some bartender, or working in a club, or something related to food or drink. And I think it's just, and not to knock any of that industry, it's just, it is easier to get into, especially when you play music, because you're used to the whole premise and vibe.
Yeah.
What's hard is when you do music, you're kind of unintentionally becoming a night owl. And for that reason, it's hard to work a morning job. And I made the mistake in my business that I would hire people that were musicians because they had a good vibe to them, and they were great customer service because they're on stage, they're used to all this stuff. And they would show up late every morning, mostly hungover, and somehow pull it together. And some of these employees I've had have lasted a long time, and that's even a feat in itself, because especially in the cafe world, most people don't even last more than a season, and I've had people work for like years on end, and it's just because they liked the fact that maybe I was too lenient on their tardiness or whatever.
Sure.
And if you're watching, you know who you are.
I think it's important though, kind of, to like help folks in that position. Like, you slate yourself as an old punk. I know you were that kid showing up to work hungover. Is part of you, like,
honestly, no. I swear to God,
way.
No. Well, I mean, I'm not saying I haven't.
Yeah.
But in my early years, no, I was pretty clean cut with the with job stuff and like that until I got a girlfriend, and then that kind of ruined everything, like when it comes to time.
Oh, sure.
But
it's more interesting.
Honestly, like, yeah, I was pretty good when it came down to that. It's sort of, I think. I don't know.
So I think most people, when they like hear that, like, old punk, that's what I imagine. It's like a kid showing up late to work, not really wanting to do it. You want to play your drums or your guitar. What did it look like for you then, if not that?
As far as work goes, or just the
in
whole
general,
like?
Yeah. Paint a picture of who you were when you were that kid, if not like blowing off work. And
I mean, I've called in sick. Yeah, I've done that kind of stuff. I mean, when it came down to I was the guy that was always trying to put a band together. Because when I was younger, I was playing guitar and bass and stuff like that. And this was just like what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a drum set yet. And when I was like 16, I always wanted to just play anything with anyone. And it was impossible to find people to come in and just jam with you, let alone want to start a band. Because everyone had that in their head, like, yeah, I want to do that. And then when this is work? And they never wanted to do it. So it's like, I was the jerk that I was always yelling at people to like get their shit together and let's go and let's like actually write some songs and do some stuff. And then when becoming like the dad in the band, I was the one that was more like, I don't want to screw this up. I'm trying to do this. I'm approaching this with a more professional mindset. This is not to toot my own horn or anything, because when you're that young, you don't really know what you're doing. You just want to do it, so you're working with what you have. And so I just became like a dick, because I just wanted to make this work, And then what I learned from that was, I have to be patient with people and then just find, but at the same time not settle, because you need to like find people you can mesh with, you can creatively create with, and people you can actually tolerate, because everyone has their vices, everyone has things, that they do, but it's just like any job or any kind of like career choice, music should be the number one if you're going to do that. And then you have all your other stuff, as long as it doesn't conflict with this. Like I had employees that worked for me, and I flat out told them, like, I don't care what you do outside of here at all, because that's none of my business. But this is my business when you come in here, and just don't bring that in here. Like, that's it.
As long as it's separated, you're okay.
But it was something I applied from my early years of learning that, because, people tend to, they like to just, most people just don't understand the process on how to work with other people, and they just look at this as an opportunity to have fun. Mm-hmm. And it should be, because why do this if it isn't fun or entertaining? But you ultimately have to take it seriously, and you have to really commit to it. You have to practice. You have to show up on time. You have to, like I've had so many people who just bail on shows.
Yeah.
Time to play. Where's this guy? And they just didn't show up. Oh yeah, I quit. Okay, good. I guess we'll just go over here and do nothing. I guess it's just it sucks because when you can't get that passion from other people, it's really hard to mesh. But once you actually do get it, it's a magical thing happens. Because I've worked with people, some people I'm still really good friends with to this day that I from my high school years, and I've had. Like one of my really good friends, we always talk about this whenever we talk, like those days, because we would sit down and he would just have a riff and we just start playing, and we would write like 6 songs every practice, just because I love what he was doing and he loved what I was doing, and we just boom, another song, boom, another song. There was never like, I didn't like that part. There was never like, oh, you didn't play this right or whatever. It was just like, oh yeah, that was awesome. That's really hard to find, because I've only found that a few other times throughout my career of playing. And not to say I'm not having that now with my current projects, but it's like, it's a different vibe, because when someone brings you music and you're just like dinking around on this stuff, they're not drummers, so they just assume you're going to do what is necessary, which is creative freedom, which is nice. But at the same time, it's like you kind of want that feedback, but you also don't want anyone to step on each other's toes. So I just try, because I'm not a guitar player, so I just try to say that sounded a little weird, and I get feedback from this, and that's how we work. But there's always like, I got a thing, and we're playing, and I'm just like, I don't like that. Let's try it like this, and then it just takes forever, and we don't write a song. It's like, that's just kind of how it is all the time. So when you do find those people that you're just like connect with, and everything works out, it's magical, and it's rare, but it does happen.
You're in a lot of different projects. I've seen you in several, like over
currently.
The years. Well, not currently, and not as much, but
yeah.
You've played with a lot of people, so it seems like you found a way to make that work.
Trying.
So do you compromise on who you want to work with, or have you just like gotten to a place where you're better at picking the people that you jump into projects?
I mean, like now it's different because I'm super busy. So I just, yeah, I had a cook that worked for me, and I took from him because he was very soft-spoken and real short with people, but he was a really sweet guy. And every time when he just was frustrated about something, he would just say, I don't have time for bums, and he would just walk away. And I loved that because it said everything he needed to say, and I agreed with him every time, because he would never just say it, but he would only say it if it really mattered. And so it's like, I apply that whenever I play with people. It's just like, when you've been doing it for a while, right away. You're like, yeah, this ain't working. I'm not feeling it, or whatever. That's just a hard part, to like work with people who, and it's kind of a hard truth, is that you don't want to work with people who aren't as good as you. And it always sounds conceited, but it is a truth. It's like, because you want people to challenge you. You want them to be better than you, so you become better. Because if you're like the best one and everyone sucks, but like, not just that they're not good enough, it's like they literally have no interest to get better than they are. They're not going to challenge you to be better. They're just basically going to pull you back, because then you're thinking, I'm good enough. And it's like, no, you should always strive to be better, because there's so much to do with this. There's so much to do with guitar and drum. It's like, you should always strive to like be a better musician in any way you can. Hey, I'm pretty satisfied with this, but I want to learn, how my amp works. I want to maybe further that. It's not a preference that I'm going to be like, if you don't do this, you suck. It's more of like, I just always challenge people to like never settle, like always try to advance and try to do better, because you want to be better. You want to work with people that are better, just so you can be better. That's just my process.
And if you're trying to move forward or make a career of it, you need people around you that have done that, or that are trying to do that. So like selfishly, in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be the furthest along in the room, because then it'll be stale.
Totally. Yeah, and I mean, you definitely want to be encouraged. And what's hard to do is like, if you see someone and they play and they can't even like tune their instrument, or they don't even understand how this works, but they can play a couple chords, it's like, all right, you don't want to carry them. It's like, I'm not the guitar player, I'm the drummer. Like, you should be on your journey to master that the best you want to and can do. So that way I can do that here and I'm not going to have to worry about you. You know, because if you can't do certain things we need to have done, it's like, why am I wasting my time? You know, it's like I want to work with people that we can make some cool music and do some cool stuff. And it's like, you know, I want your shit to be together. You know, it's like, you don't want to waste your time. That's all, you know. I can definitely say I've been fortunate over the last, I don't know, time I've lived out here that I've collaborated with some really cool people. Got to work on some really cool projects, got to work with some really cool people musically. My current projects right now with Evelyn's Casket, it's like David is a hustler. Like the way he focuses on a perceived idea to get something done, it's like musically I'm used to this. You know, it's like right up my alley musically, just, you know, some straightforward punk rock stuff. You know, I'm totally into it. But like how to promote this, how to push this out, how to get merch going at the same, there's a right and wrong way to do it, but that doesn't mean there's only one way. Mm-hmm. And he's figured out a way that works for him that actually works for us, and then ways we can pull this off. And it's like I've never done stuff this quickly, if that makes sense, because like we were a COVID band, if you will, to say it that way. Like David and I played together with a friend's band that were just, I was just trying to have fun, you know, playing drums for a buddy, and he was playing bass at the time. COVID happens, and then the summer of COVID, this was July or something like that, he calls me up, and he's just like, hey man, I got a song with my own project that I just need help with drums and to help figure out what we want to do with this. And he trusted me to like help him write this song. And so we started working on the song, and I'm just giving him my input. And like I can be extremely blunt and kind of a dick when it comes down to this stuff, because I've spent so much time in the studio just like focused on songwriting process and what dynamically how things sound and what you should be hearing for, and like how to do this, like play to a click and do this and whatever. And so I was just throwing him all my knowledge out there and doing all that stuff. And he would say, you know, like, or he brought the song to me and we started working on it, and then we ended up putting it out. And I wasn't a part of the band. I was just helping him out, just filling in time, just trying to keep busy. And then he started getting some offers to play some shows when things started opening up. And then we were like, okay. And he's like, hey, you want to play with me in this? Like our first show, if I remember correctly, was it was up in Everett. And it was just like, oh, no, that wasn't that show. Sorry. It was in Ballard, and it was at the substation, and it was just, we were just trying to, like, we didn't know what we were doing at that time. It felt like this is our first band ever, you know, kind of like vibe, because we were just trying to figure these songs out. We had two other guys that were just playing with us that just were helping out. I was kind of a guy that was just helping out his music, and it just felt clunky and weird, but I was like, there's still something here, because I felt the passion from him. And it really made me excited, because like I knew one way or another he's going to go somewhere, or at least do something great if it was or was not with me. I just wanted to help him along, because I just, you know, I had that kind of affinity with him that I wanted to just see where this went. And then we started working more on some songs and really started practicing, and we were like, we need a solid bass player. Like, not to say our friend that was helping us wasn't, it was just we need someone who wants to do this. And so we got this guy, Tanner, to come in, and just he eventually quit the band because he moved away and was doing other things, totally mutual. Love that guy. But when we were working on this stuff, we were just trying to, like, we want to play. You know, we've been trapped indoors forever, and now we want to play. And we got offered a show in Maryland. And at this time, we played a couple of shows already. They were just weird. But it was this slasher fest, kind of like horror punk show. And so we got offered to play this. We flew out just for this one-off show, and it was awesome. Like, we just killed it, rocked the house, and had a great time. And yeah, it was just like from that point, we just kind of like cemented ourselves on the horror punk scene, and we were just like, all right, now what, you know? And so we just started playing more shows and trying to work on a record, and then put the record out, and then we just kind of kept going. And we've been doing that since, what was it, 2020? Yeah. It feels like now.
A pretty good run.
For about 6 years now, and we're still going. Working on some new music. We were hoping to get it out before this tour we have coming up in March. We're going West Coast, touring West Coast.
Yeah.
Did I mention West Coast? It was touring. Up in California, we got some random dates in Word, but whatever. Just check the interweb things.
Somewhere.
You know, those things that kids all do.
We'll plug it.
Yeah. No, all right.
What more about the tour? Is it just you guys in a van?
We're touring with Nimvin, and which David and I also play in, and it's just going to be that kind of package thing. Every show there's going to be at least some other bands playing, sure. But the Nimvin thing kind of came up later. We asked him to play a show that David was putting together, but he didn't have a band in the United States because he's got guys that plays with him when he tours in Europe, and he's from Canada. So when we were asking him to play this show, he needed a band, so we just offered to be his backup band for that. So this show was basically like this Halloween kind of show, you know, and it was 2 nights, and we both ended up playing multiple sets. Like, we played in our own band, he was helping out 2 other bands, and then playing with Nimvin. So it's like, and we did like 2 sets with Evelyn's Casket. So one night we played like all Misfit songs, and then the other night we played our own songs, and then we played with this guy, and that show went really well. And so he kept asking us like, hey, I would like to work out some more show one-offs and things. So we ended up doing this Nosferatu Fest in Texas, and then we did a quick tour to the East Coast and back, and then now we're doing another run with him. We did a run with Blitzkid with Nimvin, and so far everything's been really great playing with that guy, and his songs are a lot of fun. And that was kind of literally, I'll go whoops, and then we're playing with him. So, you know, that's always a fun kind of dynamic when things just kind of happen. Yeah. You know, you just have to. I always tell people, like, just be available. You know, like, not to say you should just whore yourself out musically, but you should definitely, like, just look at your potential, and then just, if an opportunity comes by, it's always worth kind of dipping your toe in it and just be like, let's see what happens. And then it could be nothing, or it could be something great. You know, you never know unless you at least try. So
it sounds like with that, it's more of a house band situation, or like a support role. Are you active in writing at all, or are you just helping like a vehicle in the U.S.? I'm
not gonna say, like, right now we're considering ourselves, which he's never actually, Chris from Nimvin has never actually said definitively, like, we're his band.
Yeah,
like,
there's no labels.
We talk like that, you know? I mean, and we've, you know, when we played shows and people want to take pictures or autographs and stuff, we do all that. Like, we're not trying to deny anything, but he just considers us, and we kind of consider this like we're his United States band. Yeah. You know, because, you know, until something else maybe develops or becomes something else, I'm not going to say, like, we're the guys. We're just his U.S. touring band. So we just support that. We play with him for the time being, and then whatever happens is kind of where it's at. And I don't want to discredit anything. It's just, you know, I'm not going to say what I'm not sure of, you know, in that way.
That makes sense.
But, I mean, he's brought up stuff to us, like some new songs that he was working on, just seeing what we think of it. And that's a big deal, because it's like, he doesn't have to do that. And so it's nice to hear that, because he trusts us with our opinions and what we want to do with this stuff. And that's always a creative, like, excuse me. It's like, it's nice to always hear that when people want to, like, take advice in a way where they just want to know, you know, and especially someone like that who's been doing this for a long time. And it's nice to just kind of see that and be like, cool, yeah, here's what I think, and we just kind of work on some stuff and then see what happens. That kind of stuff is always fun. Yeah. I appreciate that, at least. And, so.
Does your approach to drumming in these projects change between them? Like, is there a good carryover in your technique, or is there a difference in equipment? Like,
not really. I play exactly the same stuff. I don't move much around or anything. I mean, if anything, I might switch out a cymbal or something just for whatever. But I think it's been working out pretty well. His music is so much more straightforward and just fun. You know, when you're with Nimvin's stuff, it's just fun music, like, and it's like party rock. You know, he put it as he wants to write music that sounds like Rocky Horror Picture Show, like punk version of that. You know, with like that doo-wop, but like rock and roll sound and stuff like that, which has been. I love playing his stuff. It's so much fun to play, and the hard part though is I've been playing the tracks. So I'm like, I enjoy playing to a click, but playing to tracks with, like live shows where it can be a struggle when we have all these extra sounds happening and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a fun nightmare, I'll say, and can be chaos. But so far, haven't had any issues yet, with anything. So it's been a fun ride so far. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the future to see what happens with it. So yeah, sorry.